when you understand the rites and rituals, you'll be able to appreciate what you're doing, and you'll be able to put in more effort and develop more faith and more conviction in what you're doing. And as such, you yourself will now be in a position to explain to others, especially those younger or foreign to your culture, what you are doing, and let them see the science behind this. So that is why we made the Murti out of this. That is why we use the Murti of this. Whether it's the Ganesh Murti, or whether it's the Durga Murti, once the Murti is made out of this, it fulfills that purpose. On the other hand, when you have the metallic murtis or murtis made out of marble, or the permanent murtis, they are there to give positive energy to the environment. Those murtis can be established. The dirt murti cannot be established permanently. Because the rituals that bring it into existence itself does not allow it to remain permanent. So the Devi Rati Yatra festival, we use the dirt murti of Durga Mata, and this is her way of absorbing all of our troubles and difficulties from the lives of her devotees onto herself. This is the nature of Mata. That is why there is only altars of Sanatana Dharma where you have an opportunity to worship God as Mata. From the level of the Vedas to the Puranas, you will hear, Tvameva Mata, O God, you are my mother, Chakita, Tvameva, and my father, but recognize as Mata first. So this is the compassion of your mother. This is the compassion of our mother. She comes in physical form, she spends time with us, and in that time she proves us, she prepares us for the challenges that lies ahead, and after ensuring that we are secure and our well-being are taken care of, her physical form, she leaves us. Only to return when we need her again. The Devi Rati Yatra represents, therefore, life itself. And let us go over now to quotations from Devi Mahatma as we see what the Yatra involves. What the majority of devotees will not know is the preparation that takes place months in advance. And that is where the Ganga Sanskar is performed, where the earth is extracted and specialized rituals are performed. And then rituals are performed at every interval with that earth on appropriate deities sacred to the Divine Mother. And there is where the energy now is transferred from that to the Murti you see standing in front of you. That aspect of the ceremony represents you, the Jeev Atma, all of us, coming in a physical form onto this world. But we are coming with all our defects, with our good as well as our bad karmas. As we grow and develop and live in the world and start interacting with the world, we start refining and developing our personality and we start blossoming. So henceforth, on every sacred occasion, from the time the dirt is extracted to the time of the yatra starts, certain rituals are performed. And then there will come a time when the dirt where we merge with the Murti and they would become one. Then the Divine Mother herself, the rituals will now take on a symbolic appearance of a vast sanskar. And those of you who were here very early when we arrived, you will see the ceremony being performed to bring the Devi into your home, into your mother. And those of you who are accustomed with the wedding ceremony, you know, when the Dulan comes at the girl's home, the ceremony that has to take place, you all know that ceremony, you will see something similar being performed. With some variation considered the occasion. And why does it take on this appearance? So you come into the world, you grow, you develop, you mature. The next important stage is to enter into Grihastha Ashram. And here, Grihastha Ashram does not mean the union of a husband and wife. It means the union of Atma and Paramatma. That is why Babaji will tell you, when you do Saptabari and you're walking around with fire, what did he say there? You pledge to unite yourself with 7 lifetimes with that fire. So if you get crushed up in 1 lifetime, think of where you go. Huh? That's why compatibility is very important and necessary. So here is where the devotee, when Brahman and Bhakta becomes one. And spend that time in her company. So these 9 days and nights that we are in the presence, that is why when we go and the formal rituals are over, the Murti will remain there at that venue for all to enjoy the presence of the Divine Mother. But it is up to us to either make use of the opportunity or waste it. And devotion to the Divine Mother is very simple. Simple flowers, simple arati, or simple bowing down with humility. Lord Krishna outlined very nicely in Bhagavad Gita. What did he say? Simple offering. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toya. Leaves, flowers, fruits. What more simple you get than that? So we spend these 9 days and nights, and these 9 days and nights, as I keep explaining from the time the Yatra starts, we adore and worship the Navadurga Avatar. That is the 9 major incarnations of Durga Mata. And if you look at the 9 avatars of Durga Mata, these are pure Shaktis that resides over these 9 days of the Navratri. You will see in reality, it is really a tuning, a developmental, a cleansing, and an evolving phase that you will be going through. Each one of these forms preside over a different aspect of our being. Some of them will be more physical in nature, some of them will preside over our mental and emotional mind, some of them will preside over our environment, some of them will preside over our lifestyle, some of them will be directly related to our upbringing and our heritage. Some of them will be directly related to our health, our barakat, our wealth, our prosperity, our education. So the 9 aspects of Divine Mother that is worshipped on the 9 days of the Navratri represents us going through our life here on earth. And as we grow older, mature in the world, and as we journey through the corridors of life, we will meet different challenges. We will be blessed with various opportunities, and as a result of our own karma, we will encounter different trials and tribulations. Once you are born upon the face of this earth, happiness and sorrow will follow. Some of us will enjoy one more than the other, and that should be due to our own karma. A lot of good karma, you will have a lot of blessings to enjoy. A lot of negative karma, a lot of suffering of various forms and kinds. So the Lord Durga, as we go through the different phases in our life, they are there to cause us to evolve and develop. And develop in such a holistic manner that we can complete our mission here upon earth. That is why if you look at the order in which the Navadurga avatar comes, starts with Shaila Putri, a little child, and ends with Siddhartha, the accomplished being. That is why tonight, the form Siddhartha, the last form of the Navadurga, is worshipped. It represents that the transformation, all our pujas, our yajnas, our vrata that we have been performing from since last week Wednesday, through the blessings of Siddhartha Mata, it will gain its roots. We are going through that process of developing, of refining, and of growing and maturing in her company. Those of us who spend every day of the yatra, from one venue to the other, you know during this period of time you have to restructure your lifestyles. And first and foremost in your mind is the Divine Mother herself. You have to be on time to do this, you have to go here, you have to do that. Why do you do that? Because it is what we require for our growth and our development. So these are some of the benefits of the daily Rath Yatra. Let us do a simple quotation again. From the same verses of Lord Krishna gave earlier on, he continued, O Yudhishthira, after performing the Rath Yatra, with all my friends and all my family, listen to its merits. And let us hear, as Sri Sukadeva Maharaj continues tonight. Shri Durga Sharanam Namah, 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 Shri Durga Shri Principal Jagannatha Mata ki Jai. So Bhagavan Krishna is saying, O Yudhishthira, after you perform the Devi Yatra, the merits of it is tremendous. And so what I just told you about the development of ourselves, Bhagavan Krishna, he told Yudhishthira all that. But what is interesting about this verse, it says, Devi Rata Punya Prapti Kali Mala Nashaka Mari. That this Devi Rata Yatra has the power to destroy the Kali Mala. What is Kali Mala? What is Mala? What is Mala? So I will like it on Kali. Huh? Now this one, Manu, Grand. Kali means the age of Kali. So literally it means the impurities of the age of Kali. By performing the Devi Rata Yatra, you are purified. Now Bhagavan Krishna was not only the person that performed this. Valmiki recorded that in Bhagavan Sri Ram's lifetime, he performed 2 Mahayagya. One of them was the Ashwamedh Yagya. After defeating Ravan upon being made Raja Ram, he performed Ashwamedh Yagya. And the other Yagya he performed was Devi Yagya, where he took the murti of Durga Mata and paraded from Ayodhya to Kashi. And here is how in Kashi, the city of Kashi, Devi worship was introduced. Because as you know, Kashi is the city of Bhagavan Shiva. And Bhagavan Shiva is residing in India and the sole deity that is in the city of Kashi. And even today, when we go to Kashi, the Shakti Peeth that is established here was established by Bhagavan Ram. And it is one of the most popular Shakti Peeths in North India. So these are the 2 yagyas Bhagavan Sri Ram performed. And we see here that after Bhagavan Krishna has established Dharma by vanquishing unrighteousness to the medium of the Mahabharata war, he is now going back to his own home, that is his own Dwarka, and he is going to perform the Devi Rata Yatra, just as we are doing. And as Bhagavan Krishna makes the quotation, he says, it has the ability to destroy the impurities of the age of Kali Yuga. And so everything that we just discussed, why it must be the dirt murti, the ritual that we perform with the dirt, the appropriate puja, as Bhagavan Krishna gave all of that in detail. And the same procedure, the same vidhi, Bhagavan Sri Ram performed. So if Bhagavan himself is doing that, when he comes upon it, And Bhagwan is not, God in Sanatana Dharma does not teach like how some of our school teachers operate, where they will tell you what to do. Bhagwan instead, he will demonstrate what is appropriate to do. So Bhagwan himself is performing devotion to the Divine Mother. Then he is telling us that we too should do likewise. And so generation after generation until it came down to us, we are following the footsteps of our ancestors. And we are practicing our old tradition that has been handed down from ancient times. So what you are part of here tonight is indeed very historic. You are part of history. And in the Akashic records, it's going to be recorded that each one of you took part on this date and time, on this Shakti Day, to worship the Divine Mother. You are aware that everything in this life is being well documented. You are aware of that, right? Huh? Yes, you are. Everything that you do in life, whether it's by vocal, physical action, mental thoughts, it is being recorded. And it's kept there in the Akashic records. When Chitra Gupta, he goes through it. And there is where the soul has to account. And what you will account for, after accounting, you have to come back and either reap the rewards of it or suffer the consequence of it. So it's not just the rise very Quran. Let us take our topic here. So the day after we see it deals with coming into existence, the Jivatma, coming into the world, coming with its elements. And then we see the ceremony where Atma or Bhagwan and Bhakta becomes one. And we spend that time together, developing, refining, and progressing. There will come a time when we become a Siddha. And what is a Siddha? From Vedanta, a Siddha means an accomplished being. From Tantric perspective, it means someone who has mystical abilities. For you and I, a Siddha is those of us who have lived a fulfilled life. So when we have reached that fourth ashram, and we have brought our family in accordance with the tenets of Dharma. We've educated our children. We perform our duties as husband and wife accordingly. Our children are well established in their own life. We pay our debts to society. We engage in community work and so on. We live an accomplished life. That is an accomplished life. In other words, we go through all four stages. The fifth stage is the Nyasa stage. There is where you achieve all your, where you have completed everything. There is no more to be accomplished. That is why after the ninth day, when you worship the Mother as Siddha-Gatri, you become the Siddha. And after becoming the Siddha, if you finish your work here on earth, what happens next? Huh? As people have walks in their heads. They are so hard. When you are finished doing what you're doing, what is the next step? And to move on, when you finish, your satsang is finished here tonight, what will you do next? And move on to your own homes? When you finish at work, and you will leave work and go to your home or go to your whatever duties or chores you have to do. So too, when you have finished, when you finish your allotted time, when you have finished your goals or when you have finished your duties, your assigned task, upon the face of this earth, what happens next? You make your way out of this world. And that day, for one who is absorbed in ignorance, he said we die. But in reality, we don't die. The body is just shed. The soul uses the body as an infant, as a clothing. When you go home, when you change your clothes, when you take out your suit of clothes and throw it to wash, you're going to start to wail and cry and say, oh, what clothes are missing you? Huh? Well, this is your soul, this is what your body is. Just a suit of clothing. But because of the Maya, the attachment will become deluded. And once there is ignorance in the mind, we lose our spiritual identity. But once we become the Siddha, once we become transformed through this Navaratri, we don't celebrate, we don't mourn, instead we celebrate, and that is called Vijaya. And because it occurs on the 10th day, it is called Vijaya Dasami. In the Bhagavatam, it was on the day Vijaya Dasami, depending on who is reading now. For someone who is steeped in Vedanta, it is the day Mahishasura attained moksha. For someone who reads the scripture from a literal point of view, Durga Mata killed him. But just as Mahishasura attained one with the Divine Mother, and as you will notice tomorrow when we perform our ritual according to the Yajurveda, there will be part of the ceremony where we have to live here in the physical form. And it's a very emotional time for some of us. So too, when we become accomplished and there is no more for us to achieve, when we have stayed our time upon earth, we make our exit. And when we make our exit, depends on the qualities of our karma. During our state, the Akashic records is open, Chitraguप्ta goes through it, and Yama decides what happens to the soul. So the Devi Rath Yatra festival represents life in totality. So the blessings that we attain through these 9 days and nights in the company of the Divine Mother, regardless of what station we are in our state of development, we can benefit from it. Some of us have lost our ways. Some of us are distracted by the Maya of the world. Some of us, we are distressed, we are fatigued with this Leela, life itself. Some of us find it troublesome and burdensome to go forward. When you start to feel dejected like this, what do? You call out your Divine Mother. And you ask her, Uma, come into my life. Jago, Ma, Jago. What does Jago mean? Wake up. Wake up. Come into my life. You're waking that energy within you, so that your goals can be redefined, reassessed. Your focus can be recast on your objective, and you will start to move forward once again, once she is pleased with you. That is why when the Navratri period comes, intensified devotion is required. When it is a time that is required for transformation, to make amends for where we fall short. And for those of us who are progressing, it is a time to redefine, to assess, and to continue moving forward. So these are the benefits of the Devi Ratha Yatra. And tonight, all of us, we are indeed very blessed to be part of this auspicious ceremony. So what we will do now, we will briefly discuss the Kanyakumari Puja. So what we will do, we briefly discuss the Kanyakumari Puja. So you understand what you're seeing taking place in a few minutes from now. Now the Kanyakumari Puja in Devi Bhagavatam. And to give you an idea, those of you who are interested in reading up where you can get information, Devi Bhagavatam, Mahanirvana Tantra, and Lakshmi Tantra. These are the texts, the authoritative texts that you can get even online, which gives you information about the Kanyakumari Puja, its greatness and its beauty, how it is to be performed. And the Kanyakumari Puja was developed by Durga Mata herself, and all the rules and regulations governing this puja was narrated by her to her devotees. Now let us try to understand the name of this puja. What is the name of the puja? I'm going to quiet audience. I can interrupt the audience. I just like to know what will be your head. Why? So if you're not understanding, I can clear up your doubts. Or even if you ask this question, I don't know, I will know I have some research to do. Alright, so what is the name of the puja? Kanyakumari Puja. What is the meaning of the word Kanya? The English translation, dictionary translation means virgin. It means a pure. The word Kanya means pure. Kumari. Kumari refers to a young girl who has not started experiencing the menstrual cycles. Compared with the masculine aspect of the same word, Kumar is male, Kumari is female. So Kanya Kumari means a pure young girl under the age of puberty. And so the age may change according to the maturity of the children. Some people, you may be able to, some places where you say a 10-year-old child, but if you know a 10-year-old child you're not sure about, of course these are discussed in confidence with the child's parents. You don't use it. The safest thing to do is the single digits. 2-year-old to 9-year-old. At least it's sure. They were within Kumari age range. And I will give you some of the rules taken from Devi Bhagavatam for the Kanyakumari Puja. And these are the rules for choosing these 9 girls. Only girl children between the ages of 2 to 9 years old can be used. The girls to be used in this puja must be conceived in and born to parents who are married according to the traditions of Sanatana Dharma. That means the mother of the child must not be pregnant before marriage with this child, and the child must be born within a sanctified marriage. That is the Vivaha Sanskar must have been performed. The girl children must come from a lineage in which tamastic worship is not performed. You know, you have some people when children want to like to kill hog and that kind of thing. This type of puja. You can't choose children from that type of background. Children partaking in Kanyakumari Puja must not have any, and these are quotations from David Bhagavatam. So if it sounds kind of harsh, it probably be. And like I told you, Durga Mata is telling the rules for Kanyakumari. She is setting the parameters here. Children the girls taking part in Kanyakumari Puja must not possess any physical defect and, sorry, let me read that again. Girls children taking part in Kanyakumari Puja must not have any kind of physical or mental defects. They must have all their limbs and must not possess any extra limbs. You all know what that means, right? In other words, they want a normal human child. And when I say normal, like the majority, the child must be retarded, suffering from any psychological problems or any physical defects. The child must not have any extra limb. What do I mean by that? What does extra limb mean? Because sometimes children just want extra fingers and extra toes and so on. Girl children taking part in puja must not be victim of incest or any other such crimes. Obviously, they're going to be kanya. They can't be victims of those things. So what you're bringing into question there now is the upbringing the child and the type of home environment that child is coming from. Children must be fasted prior to the puja. Because the girls are of Kumari age, the appropriate outfit will be yellow. Now, there are occasions in which, especially in Mahanirvana Tantra, where it is mentioned the red color is used on specific occasions, especially when it comes to the tantric rituals or more devotion to the goddess Kali Mata and so on. Alright? But for Sattvic Vedantic type puja, the color yellow is more appealing. And this, again, this is keeping with the traditions. Look at your Vivaha Samskar. When you do the Friday night Manipur, the girl or the boy is dressed in yellow. On the day of the Vivaha Samskar, the first part is done when the girl is in the yellow outfit. Then when she becomes the married woman, then she puts on, well, when that part of the ceremony is being performed, then she changes into the red outfit in which she actually marries in. On the day of the puja, the children must not be sick to any extent to which they will not be able to participate. On the day of the puja, all girls must be treated equally. In other words, if you do Kanyakumari puja, you cannot give one and not give the other. And if you choose to give one, what you give it must be equal, or it must equate to what you give it to the other 8. There must be no bias. So these are some of the rules that exist for the choosing of these girls. Now let us see what these girls represent and the benefits of doing the Kanyakumari Puja. Again, Durga Mata in Devi Bhagavatam, she is giving the instruction, the Vidhi, which I will not go into. You see the Vidhi being performed here just now. But she says, amongst all the scriptures, there are 3 Sampur Pujas. Sampur means complete in every way. Nothing is lacking from it. Among the rich variety of pujas, the tantras and the Vedas and so on, there are only 3 are considered Sampur, meaning complete, total completeness. And the quotation continues. They are Shivling Puja. Like what you do on the night of Shivratri, that is a Sampur Puja. Why? The stand in which the lingam stands is the abode of Shakti. The base of the lingam, the abode of Brahma. The middle of the lingam, the abode of Vishnu. The top of the lingam, the abode of Shiva. So you have all the different energies represented here. Then there is a Purusha Narayan Shaligram Puja. Again, where all the different energies, different deities are present in that Shaligram. In this type of puja, the very famous Purusha Sukta is recited. And then you have the Kanyakumari Puja, which represents the totality of the divine energy in physical form. That is why the girls of a pure nature, to represent the mother in all her resplendent glory, she have chosen these children. And she continues. Now I may not be quoting from the book because we want to stick with the time. But everything I'm telling you, you can get it in the Devi Bahini. Everything is here. The Devi Yatra as well as the Kanyakumari Puja. So you will have this stuff here. So you can get from Mr. and Mrs. Gandhana. As well as we have this year the Devi Bahini, which tells you the 9 avatars of Durga Mata you worship on the 9 days of the Navratri. Right? And the Vidhi is given to the back, how you observe a simple Navratri vrat at your home. So which quality separates the Kanyakumari Puja from the other two? Because Durga Mata is saying the Kanyakumari is still more special than these two. And I want you to see if you can figure it out for yourself. In the Shivling Puja, you have to use the lingam, isn't that so? In the Virat, in the Purusha Narayan Puja, you have to use the Shaligram. And in the Kanyakumari Puja, you have to use a child. What is the difference? Huh? The child, isn't that so? The Shaligram and the Shivalingam, they are inanimate objects, they are stone in nature. You have a human child here. Unless you are a great yogi, to get a response from the one through the medium of the lingam or the Shaligram, the ordinary devotees like you and I, we have to perform very long and hard emotion for that to happen. But by performing the puja, the Kanyakumari Puja of a human child, from the time that child smiles, or that child shows her favor, immediately you are going to have the experience as though Mata herself is pleased with you. Isn't that so? Think about how you when you interact with your guru, with your pandits. In Panditji, watch you with a serious face. You know what to go there? They say, oh Lord, you vexed, so in Bhagavan, you vexed, so I do something wrong. But from the time that child, which represents the Divine Mother, you see human beings, we interact best with another human being. Is that so? So this is the psychology of the Kanyakumari Puja. I'm using the human child, according to the Divine Mother, places it in a unique category all by itself. So these 9 girls, they have 9 different names, or they represent 9 different deities. The first child, she represents Kumari Devi. And by the worship of Kumari Devi, all miseries and the 8 types of poverty are destroyed. The second girl, she represents Trimurti Devi. And by her worship, longevity is obtained. So these are the blessings of the different Kumaris. The third girl, she represents Kalyani Devi. And by her worship, knowledge, prosperity, and beautiful children is obtained. The fourth girl, she is worshipped as Rohini Devi, and by her worship, all disease are destroyed. So I want you to see the aspects of your life. Notice the Divine Mother, she's not leaving out any aspect of your life. She takes care of your health, your wealth, your prosperity, and so on. The fifth girl represents Kalika Devi, and by her worship, all enemies, both internal as well as external, are destroyed. The sixth girl represents Chandika Devi, and by her worship, all types of happiness, prosperity, and the 8 types of wealth resides in your home. The seventh girl, she is worshipped as Shambhavi Devi, and by her worship, one attains success in competitive ventures and business activities, and one is always victorious. The eighth girl is worshipped as Durga Devi, and by her worship, all difficulties in this life will be destroyed, and we are sure of her security in our future lives. The ninth girl is worshipped as Shubhadra Devi, and by her worship, Dharma, Arth, Kam, and Moksha is attained. So these are the names of the 9 Devis and a summary of the blessings you get. So when the Kanyakumari Puja is being performed, after our hosts have performed their rituals and so on, all of you will be invited to come and participate, and it's up to you to take the opportunity. Even if you tell yourself you didn't come prepared to do it, you have flowers. Again, Bhagavan Krishna says, a simple flower, once displayed, offered with devotion, can create a world of difference in your life. So in summary, these are the Kanyakumari, and these are the types of the deities they represent, and the blessings from the Divine Mother you obtain by performing Kanyakumari Puja. In Mahanirvana Tantra, a lot more is said. A lot of different attributes are given. And it states that in Mahanirvana Tantra, that when the devotee performs Kanyakumari Puja, even the ancestors are pleased. This is one of the bounties of using a girl child. You know, in Hinduism, not Hinduism, in Indian people in particular, they had a seat for a boy child. You know that, Nothing wrong. The boy has his place and his function too. Through him the putra goes on. The lineage continues. The family dynasty continues. But through the girl, look at what the Divine Mother is doing. While the boy may have the responsibility of the future on his shoulder, the girl, our daughters, our sisters, they have the responsibility of the present on their shoulders. That is why our mothers, you are not charged with the responsibility of bringing up your children in accordance with Dharma. Why? Your children represent the future. And the fathers, you have the responsibility to make sure the rules and regulations of your family tradition is adhered to, so it can continue from one generation to the next. So when an entire family joins together to perform this type of puja, you are recommitted to your dharma, to your heritage, and your identity. So when you throw up your hands to the heavens and you call, Satya Sanatan Dharmaki, you can really say Jai. But if you sit down there like a sponge, and you just take everything that passed by, where is Jai for? When you are doing something, deserve Jai. Hinduism doesn't teach us, Sanatana Dharma doesn't teach us. We are passive participants. No, we are active in this leela of life. So dear devotees, we have discussed briefly the Devi Ratha Yatra festival. We have discussed briefly the Kanyakumari Puja. Now by the scope of the ideas I have thrown out to you, you can see it will be very much impossible to tell you the details of all of this in just about a half hour. These are the topics of discussion for your yearly complete years and for your Sunday morning service to expound on. So at this point in time, we have our Kanyakumari Puja, and as soon as we have finished here, that is the host, all of you who come prepared to do puja can come forward, and even if you are not prepared but you would still like to participate, no one will stop you, no one will tell you no. You are here, it's a privilege, you are not here by accident. Panditji or the Ramadan family didn't invite you by guests. You didn't come here solely on their invitation. You had to have the blessings of Mata to be here. And only when she ordains, if she ordains that you have to be here, jump high, jump low, you have to be here, you know. So don't waste the opportunity you have. Make use of it. And just let me say, for more information on the Yatra, Mr. and Mrs. Ramadan has been involved with me from the beginning of the Yatra since inception. You can get ideas. They have a lot more pictures in their archive than I do. We have our publication. You can contact me. And anything we can do together through Panditji and the organization, we can liaise and we can have information made available. So if you have something you like and you want to be part of, there's an avenue for you to get involved. You don't have to be my children or members of my Yatra. This is a national festival. This is a national event. All you have to do is have a lighting for Sanatana Dharma. Prem se bolo Jagadambi Mata ki Jai.
Sitaram devotees, I would like you to please stand as we welcome the Devis in Tasa voice. Move on and put next, taking up your space them out.